According to Judaism, Jesus is a Jew who comes from the tribe of Judah. So ask yourself, why would God want Jesus, his begotten son, to come out of the tribe of Judah when Judah is the wickedest of all the 12 tribes? When Judah has done evil in his sight since the days their fathers came forth out of Egypt. And if you don't know, Egypt was called the granddaughter of Ethiopia, and Egyptians were referred to as disobedient Ethiopians, for they were the ones who started paganism. And due to that seed, it spread throughout the world. Now, a lot of the world is practicing and creating their own religions due to what happened in ancient Egypt. So let's read. Now, Israel loved Joseph more than all his children. Another Bible would say he loved Joseph more than all his sons. So who is Israel? Jehovah. For Jah has chosen even Jacob for himself, Israel for his special property. Notice it says Jacob for himself. Haile Selassie title is literally elect of God, elect of himself, the root of David. So as you can see, I shall cause the horn of David to grow. He is literally the root of David. So let's listen and see who he is.
In 1928, he led the troops that killed Empress Zoditu's husband, who was not of royal blood, and became regent. He became emperor on November 2nd, 1930, and was crowned Haile Selassie I, King of Kings, King of Zion, conquering lion of the seed of Judah.
So as a king of Zion, he's a king of Ethiopia, because Zion is just another name for Ethiopia. So you see what it says? If you add or take away from it, then it is no longer perfect. So he says, woe unto those that add and take away from the word. So what did they do?
Canonization is the process that determines what is written into the Bible. Canonization therefore affects the nature of various Christian religions.
So few people are aware that the popular King James Version is not the only canonized Bible. There are actually 4 plus a variety of offshoots.
The Western churches pretty much agreed on the New Testament canon by about 400, but there was still this problem that the Eastern churches didn't like Revelation and the Western ones didn't like Hebrews, and they finally ironed it out, and by 600 more or less they were able to do the horse trade.
The original issue was not what stories to put into the...
So the Jewish people and the Catholics, they did their own trade and came up with their own version. In other words, Judaism. So they decided to follow the tribes of Judah.
The New Testament, but what to read out loud in church.
And when you see what they put in the Bible, you see they still didn't quite know. They sometimes would add a couple of books which they shouldn't have.
So they created their own stories and changed everything. So let's read carefully. Jews who killed even the Lord and the prophets and persecuted us. Furthermore, they are not pleasing God, but are against the interests of all men, as they try to hinder us from speaking to people of the nations that these might be saved, with the result that they always fill up the measures of their sins. But God's wrath is going to hit them. Why? Therefore, thus said the Lord God of Israel, behold, I am bringing such evil upon Jerusalem and Judah, because they have done which was evil in my sight, and have provoked me to anger, since the day their fathers came forth out of Egypt, even unto this day. So currently they are still doing stuff that God don't like. So let's see who they are.
Who started your church? Lutheran Church. Founder Martin Luther. In the year 1517. Country Germany. Catholic. Founder Jesus Christ. Date early 30s of the Common Era.
Lies. Because the original tongues was written around 330 AD, and it told us to look forward to the coming of Christ. It never said Christ died and he's going to come back. No, it said look forward to him. So as you could clearly see, they lied. And let's prove their lies. What did John say? And they said, is this not Jesus, the son of Joseph, whose father and mother we know? How is it then that he said he came down from heaven? Like, why are you guys saying he is when he's not? Now let's look up the oldest synagogues in the world. Let's go straight to number one. The oldest synagogue in the world, and also the longest serving, has stood on the site since the 9th century and served the place of worship for Egypt's Jewish community until a mass exodus to Israel in the 1950s. In other words, the oldest synagogue didn't start till the 9th century. It wasn't here 2,000 years ago. So who's lying to us? Who is lying? Well, there are many verses about Judah lying. Also, Judah did not keep the commandments of the Lord, their God, but walk in the statutes which they made. So they made up their own stuff. The people of Judah have done evil in my eyes, declares the Lord. They have set up all detestable idols in the house that bears my name, and they have defiled it. So what did they do? Ephraim has surrounded me, the house of Israel, with deceit, and Judah is unruly against even the faithful Holy One. So what would they do? They would lie. So look what they did when in their translation. Judah yet ruleth with God and is faithful with the saints. When there's countless verses saying otherwise. Judah was not perfect. Judah was doing a whole bunch of stuff and he wasn't following God. So why would God want Jesus to come out of Judah? When we all know that the oldest language in the world is Ethiopian. But according to Judaism, they want to act like they're first. So let's look. Is Amharic older than Hebrew? Considered much older than Hebrew and Arabic. So first it was Ge'ez, which became Amharic. And both of them are older than any of these churches.
Jerusalem, Jehovah Witness, founder, Charles Taze Russell, in the year 1874. Boston, Salvation Army, founder, William Booth, in the year 1865. Pennsylvania, Disciples of Christ, founders, Thomas and Alexander Campbell, in the year 1827. New York, Baptist, founder, John Smith, in the year 1609. Country, Amsterdam.
Notice none of them comes before Ethiopia, and everyone comes after, and they were all lying. So it's only until recently they started admitting certain stuff.
Archives, they say 1,000 years in their archives, and they showed that Sayyidina Isa salam to be dark-skinned, and images that are associated with the people of Sayyidina Isa salam dark-skinned. And from what we told from Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Sayyidina Musa salam was very dark-skinned. 70,000 prophets of Allah now these ulama are finally admitting, out of 124,000, 70,000 dark-skinned prophets.
Of course they're going to be dark-skinned. It was dark-skinned people who started Muslim. It started by Moors. So why wouldn't they be dark-skinned? Hello?
Rome is the current world power. Absolutely rules the world. How does it do it? Well, it does it by stealth. You don't know it's ruling, and you know, most of your educated fat head disease types, they're repeating the rubbish that they teach in the universities and institutes.
If you're under the Roman calendar, of course you're controlled by Rome, regardless of what country they are. So both Russia and America are under the Roman calendar. So hello, wake up.
Institutions all run by the Vatican. They wouldn't. People who come out of those institutions, they wouldn't know this. They laugh at you. Rome, still ruling. Oh yeah, well, check out the Senate when the idiot Barack Obama is standing there and he's got the gold trim American flag behind him, the Catholic corporate flag, and 8-foot-tall fasci of Rome, one on his left, one on his right, and that's Rome telling you, hey man, you know, we rule your ass. The church is...
So, hello. Jaga.
And then sorcery, but render unto Caesar. Yes, what is this? And give us unto the Father. Yes, the blessing of which I and I, they are humbly receive. Reprieve from Zion, tribulation and grief. 1,000-year rule, revelation revealed.